To put it simply, Liberia is an anomaly. Liberia was one of the only two countries to escape European colonization in Africa, and along with Sierra Leone, is the only other country that was ever founded by citizens of another country who wanted to create a home for themselves and ex-slaves. Liberia is the only country in Africa to have had a substantial amount of American influence, yet while Liberia and its culture is so similar to American culture, there's a question to be asked. Why didn't the United States formally colonize and keep Liberia? To get to the answer of the question, we must examine the roots of the Liberian nation itself. In 1816, the American Colonization Society, or ACS, was formed by Robert Finley in New Jersey. While its full name is the Society for the Colonization of Free People of Color of America, it is still referred to by its previous name, and that is what I'll be calling it for the rest of the video to make it easier to listen to. The group was made up of a large coalition of people with different viewpoints on slavery. On one side, you had the abolitionists and Quakers, who advocated for resettlement of free black Americans in Africa so that they could escape persecution. And on the other side, there were slave owners who wanted free blacks out of the United States. Regardless of the moral ambiguity of the operation, the ACS gained prominence and in 1821 formed a small colony on the Pepper Coast on the western side of the African continent, something that they later call Liberia. The colony was very infamous for its extremely high mortality rate among its settlers. In 1822, 4,571 people made up the colony, but by 1843 only 1,819 remained. Even still, by the year 1867, nearly 13,000 Americans lived in Liberia. In 1839, the ACS gave the colony self-governance and it was renamed to the Commonwealth of Liberia. And in 1841, the first black governor of the colony was appointed. J.J. Roberts led the colony from 1841 until 1847, when he proclaimed the independence of the country. The capital was proclaimed to be Monrovia, a city named after the U.S. president, and the country absorbed the remaining towns around it to create the country. Along with this, the population of Americo-Liberians drafted and passed a constitution for their country that was very similar to the Constitution of the United States. But that still begs the question, why didn't the U.S. actively try and control the colony? Well, during the time period that the colony was active, slavery was still a very hot topic of debate in the United States, and the support for a free black colony would enrage southern states and could have pushed the country more towards civil war. Additionally, not all abolitionists support the colony. Frederick Douglass is a very prominent example of someone who strongly was against the actions and instead was a proponent of the suffrage and citizenship for blacks in the United States. These political factors, along with the financial burdens of the colony, caused it to be somewhat isolated and unwanted in the United States. That being said, because of their heritage, Liberia was part of the United States sphere of influence and would provide a strategic importance for production of strength for the United States. As the colony expanded, the United States companies would invest in the region, and after independence, U.S. naval vessels would patrol the area to guarantee sovereignty of the colony until way after the First World War. In conclusion, the United States didn't formally colonize due to both economic and social pressures, but at the same time kept Liberia in its sphere of influence and guaranteed the young country's independence when the European powers were taking over as much land as possible. The lasting signs of this past can be seen in the American names for places such as Monrovia and Greenville, the Liberian Constitution, the lasting relations between America and Liberia, and Liberia being one of only 3 countries, along with the United States, to use the imperial system for measurement. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. To show your support for the channel and what I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content in the future. With that, have a wonderful day.